Hello again, it's Pam back for another episode. Thank you to everyone who took some time and looked at my recent episode. I think it was a couple weeks ago that I did that. And please feel free to leave comments or questions or constructive criticism if you would like to. I know there's a lot of things I need to improve on too if I'm going to continue on this way, but I'm learning. So I'm coming to you again today with another little program, partly about quilting, partly about traveling. Right now I'm sitting in the Ray Gilbert campground, which is part of the Tucson Mountain Park. It's on the west side of Tucson, and it's public land. I think it's maybe county owned or city owned, I'm not sure, but a very nice campground with big spacious sites and beautiful views of the desert. Let me see if I can get you to see it out the window here. And so that's really fun to have that handy to look out at, and we get a view of the sunsets at night. Sunsets around here are beautiful, and that's west in that direction, so we can see that every night. So that's where we are right now, and we will be traveling tomorrow to another campground for a week, and that one is called the Twin Peaks Campground, and it is in the Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument. So we'll be staying there for a week, and I think it will be pretty much like this landscape, which I'm really enjoying. We are right now right next door to the Saguaro National Park, and we've been over there to do some hiking. It's just across the road from us, and a lot of trails there, as well as in this Gilbert Ray Park, and all around us. You can go anywhere and find trails here. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit, follow up on last episode. I talked a bit about different products to use that I've been using to make the bee fabric collage project, and I neglected to say that if at all possible, order those things or purchase them from your local quilt shop, either in person or online if they have an online shop, or over the phone to order something and pick it up either in person or indoors or outdoors, whatever they can offer you. The quilt shops really depend on our loyalty and our continued business to help them stay afloat these days. A lot of them took a big hit last year when they had to be closed for a while. So that's my little message on that. I did put links to everything that I spoke about on the show notes from that episode, and the links will take you primarily to the manufacturer's website where you can learn more about the products. I also wanted to share some thoughts on the fusible web products that I talked about, because I think it might have been a little bit confusing. There is two main fusible web products that I spoke about. One is here I have the label for the Light Easy Steam 2 with Roman numerals, and it is made by Pellon, as you can see. And then the other product is called Steam 2 with the numeral 2, and that is made by the Warm Company. And I have discovered that that is what I prefer. I have used both of those now in different portions of my project, and in another one that I've started, and I'll share with you in the future, because I ran out of the product I preferred. I ended up using quite a bit more of the Pellon product, and I have a sense that that is going to give me some maybe a little bit of gunky trouble on my sewing machine needle when I go to quilt it. But you can, I've encountered that before, and you maybe have too, and you can remove that from your needle very easily without getting rid of the needle. I prefer to use a little bit of the Goo Gone product, just a dab of it on my fingers. I wipe the needle down with it to remove anything sticky, and then I wipe it clean with a tissue, and on I go. So that is what I kind of wanted to highlight from that episode. Oh, the other thing that I did not speak about in that episode, that is when you are using the fusible web products like I'm using, if you are making a design that needs letters and numbers and anything that has a definite right left look to it, you will need to reverse the design that you are tracing onto the fusible web, because you are putting that fusible web onto the wrong side, the back side of the fabric. So to make a letter look the right way, it would need to, the drawing would need to be reversed. And you can do that in many ways, maybe as simple as making a photocopy, a mirror image photocopy, or using a light box and flipping the design over so you are tracing the back side of the design basically and onto your fusible web. So I also wanted to spend some time, I've got some notes here that I'm referring to from time to time. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about COVID and traveling and what we've encountered as we've been going around with our travels. You can see the wind blowing on the window awning out here. It's gotten breezy this afternoon, kind of gusty, but it's about 70 degrees, so maybe even more. Oh, this is saying 83, but I think that sensor is in the sun. Anyway, when we have been traveling, we weighed the pros and cons of this a long time. Even last year, in the midst of the height of the COVID pandemic and the huge rise in numbers, I had to travel some, and it wasn't optional really for me to not do that. I had to fly some places, and I managed to be very careful and stick to quarantine rules with that. And that's what we're continuing to do. Bob and I both feel very, very clearly that we are as quarantined in our own little trailer as possible, and as possibly we are at home, because we really do not have much contact with other people. There are not gatherings that we're going to, and we see plenty of people, even on the trails, but we use masks and people try to maintain a 6-foot distance if at all possible. So we do have to go out to get groceries just like we would at home. I have tried doing some order and pickup too, but sometimes we like to go in and get our own groceries. So we try to do that at the least busy hours of the day in the store, and at a store that generally does not get real crowded. So that's a lot of how we're handling it. We have had contact in the 6 weeks we've been gone. We have 6 people that we have had close contact with here in Arizona, and 2 of those were family members. The other 4 of those were 2 couples that are our friends from back home in Minnesota, and they spend part of their year down here in Arizona, and so we did some visiting and activities with them. We don't eat out very much. We cook almost all our own meals. Even when we're on the road, we don't have to go into a restaurant to eat. We don't have to go into a rest stop for the bathroom. We have our own bathroom and kitchen and bed and everything else we need right in here in the trailer. So we feel pretty comfortable about that. We also know that it is a high risk. Arizona is not a low risk state for COVID. And I think the thing that we would be most concerned about is if we were to get sick or even injured badly, we do not want to occupy any of the time or resources of the healthcare community here, if at all possible. They've got more than enough with regular medical and surgical conditions that are coming in, along with the COVID care. So we are very aware of that. We both have a lot of medical background, and we can take care of most of our problems ourselves. I did injure my little finger, a week ago, and I would have kind of liked to have that x-rayed, but we are making do. We are just taping it together. I'm using ice and ibuprofen, and those are the things that they would tell us if I went in to get it x-rayed for any kind of little fracture or anything. It's movable. I'm not worried about it. It's just me continuing to be kind of sore because it was a pretty bad fall I took, which is another story, kind of hysterical really, but that might come out in the future sometime. So let's see. That being said, oh, I thought I would describe to you what a typical travel day is like for us if we are moving between campgrounds. We will generally have our own breakfast, get things organized and packed up for the pickup and the trailer. When you're packing up the trailer, everything has to be stowed away so it doesn't slide off the countertops, and everything rattles around a lot in the trailer when you're driving over bumpy roads. And so everything needs to be kind of cushioned and protected. And then we get hitched up to the trailer and off we go. So we'll stop when we need gas or to walk around. We try to use a rule of traveling about 300 miles, no more, if possible during the day, or making sure we get into the campground by 4 o'clock, so we don't have to set up things in the dark, and we're not exhausted from 8 hours of driving. So that has worked really well for us for the most part. And we can usually get a reservation, a place to stay a day ahead of time if need be, or if we have the luxury of knowing where we're going to be on what days, then we'll call ahead and reserve a spot for a few days. Let's see, I'm checking my notes here, and I think I've covered a lot of it. We are enjoying our time here, and because we are staying sometimes in the parks for a longer period of time, I get an opportunity to do some sewing. We are pretty able to entertain ourselves. Mine is often sewing, reading, knitting, or just being lazy. Bob likes to golf and read, and we both like to go out for long walks and hikes. There's plenty of trail access wherever we've been. So that's kind of what our days are like when we're out traveling about. I do have a couple of things to show you as far as quilting projects. I've got them handy here. So the bee that I was working on last time, I've added a few more details to it. There's going to be about 2 inches taken off all around the edges of this, so what you see is larger than what will be framed, and I'm going to use a like an artist canvas type of frame that I can staple it onto the back. So I've added a few things. I put on the date, and I would like to now add some lettering for my name. I put in a few things up in different spots around the bee, but it's not all ironed down yet, and it probably won't be ironed down until I get home, possibly. I've started a couple more quilts too. Well, some of them I had started at home, and that's one thing about traveling with wanting to sew or knit or anything, is getting it organized at home. This was a quilt that I've started. It is called Throwing, and it's designed by Brigitte Heitland. I think she's German or Dutch. Her design company is Zen Chic. She designs wonderful fabrics. This was made out of 5-inch charm squares and the white background. You can purchase this pattern at a local quilt shop, but you might also want to take a look at, if you like the look of this one, look at more Zen Chic patterns, because she has a real contemporary looking style to her that I like. Another one that I've picked up that I had started at home is called Bright Birch Trees, and it is designed by Amanda Jean Nyberg, and her business name is Crazy Mom Quilts, and she's actually from the Twin Cities area, and it's very easy to do. You use large squares of fabric. They're actually cut a little oversized, and then you construct little strips of squares or rectangles of scrap fabric, and you just make slices at any spot, any angle that you want to, and sew those strips into it. Here's one of the blocks that I have made to go in that quilt. I have 16 blocks made, and I might stop with that. I'm going to see about the size of it and see if I want to add one more row. So that's been fun. And lastly, I'll show you this block first so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's a little bit hard to see there, but this is made up of 4 sections. So this orange that you see, that is one of the block pieces. And then you put 4 of those together and to make a total square. And that pattern is called Basic Mixology, and it's designed by a Moda fabric company design team called Studio M. This is a free pattern on the Moda website that you can print and download, both sides. And you would need to go to modafabrics.com. Fabrics is a plural. And search for, within that, the Studio M fabric and pattern designs. For making that, there is a template because of the way those triangles are made, the angles of them. They aren't your regular 45-degree or 60-degree angles. There is a template on the pattern that you can use and some directions there on cutting. I have been using a ruler here called the Corner Beam, and it is a product made by Studio 180 Design, and Deb Tucker is the designer, and it has helped me cut those pieces, the large angle in the middle and then the smaller side triangles. And this ruler will do many sizes of those different blocks. So that's been a real helpful thing for me to use. So that about covers everything I was going to say. I do have some thoughts in mind for a couple of or more episodes of this. If you would like to toss me any questions or suggestions, please do so in the comments. This video is posted on YouTube, and it's linked with my blog site, which is luckysundog.com, and my Facebook posting, which is just my own name. So you can view it anywhere, and hopefully you're enjoying what I'm doing, and I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back.